on. Like, really?
Yeah. Boom. Even though on my computer it doesn't show we're live, I know we're live because it's that awkward time where none of us pretend like we know what we're doing. Thank you everybody for joining Battle Buddies Live this evening. Coming straight out of Minneapolis this evening with some other Midwesterners. And we have a special guest on here, Cherissa Jackson. And we should see Jeff Finnefrock join here via telephone. He said that he'd be jumping in a little late. If not, we will carry on without him. So Cherissa's going to introduce herself. She's a first-time guest here. A little bit about her background as far as she is a vet. So of course, vets and non-vets are welcome because we love our supporters. So we can't get enough of that. And like always, typical house cleaning. Here we go, the broken record part. Invite more vets to the page because we still have 20 million that we need to reach that can use a support or be part of the mentorship and offer support. So if you know some great military supporters, doesn't matter if it's your grandma. I tell you what, if my grandma was still around and my grandpa, I'd be very proud of them watching our page because this isn't that page. So invite them. If they're great Americans and great supporters, bring them. Please, please bring them. So Cherissa, if you'd like to introduce yourself to everybody, that would be wonderful. And you can kind of dig in to what you guys do over at AMVETS and in conjunction with the military here. That'd be wonderful. And feel free to ask any questions while we're going. I will jump in and pull those questions in when possible. Okay?
So I want to bring up the slides. So let me do that if I can. It's not allowing me to bring up the slides here. Chuck, what do you want me to do? Actually, it's on my desktop.
Try it now. It looks like some of these controls changed here recently.
Okay.
Multiple participants. There you go. There we go. It's working.
Okay.
Yes.
It's live. You guys are getting the raw version this evening.
Do you guys see these slides?
Yep.
You do? Okay, awesome, awesome. So let me make this a little, let's see here. Okay, so I'm so honored to be here today to tell you guys about myself as well as AMVETS and the program that I run. As you see here on slide number 1, I am the current Chief Medical Executive of AMVETS. AMVETS stands for American Veterans. And so today on the agenda, what I really want to talk to you guys about is who AMVETS is. I'm not sure if a lot of you all know who AMVETS is, but I'll give you a brief history about our organization. I'll tell you about my military journey of 23.5 years and 14 days. I'll get into our actual HEAL program and what we do in serving the veterans under that program. We'll talk about our upcoming events, and then we'll get into a Q&A. So who is AMVETS? I'm sure many of you guys have seen the thrift stores, or you're seeing some of our vans picking up clothes and items throughout the community, but AMVETS is so much more than that. Again, it is considered American Veterans. We're the most inclusive congressionally chartered veteran service organization. Most of you probably know a few: DAV, VFW, and that's just to name a few. So we are one of the largest veteran service organizations that's been congressionally chartered. So what does that mean? That means when Congress wants to hear about veterans, when they want us to help them find solutions, they're coming to us to assist them in that. And that actually represents more than 20 million veterans in this country. And we have over 250,000 members nationwide. We have over 60 posts across the country. And some of the services that AMVETS provides includes claims and benefits. We help with veteran employment. We do a lot of charity work. And again, we have thrift stores across the country. So let's talk about my military career. I came in at 17. My parents actually had to sign for me to come in. I had no idea I wanted to come into the military until I was thinking about the Air Force Academy. And I actually applied, got accepted, And at the very end, at the ninth hour, there was an administrative glitch and I wasn't able to go into the Air Force Academy. So I thought going into the Air Force would be the next best thing. And it was my brother who actually said, yes, you go into the Air Force, Cherissa, you're not going into any other branch. And I'm so glad that I did. In the community, I'm considered the America's combat nurse. And the reason for that is because I've been deployed 4 times. And of those 4 deployments, 3 of them were to combat. Twice to Iraq, once to Afghanistan. So I went to Iraq in 2005, again in 2006, and then to Afghanistan in 2011. And again, as a combat nurse. And that was because of all of the skill sets that I had gotten as a nurse in the military. I started off enlisted. I was a logistic officer, and I actually ordered parts for the C-17s and the F-15s. And then I thought, I can do more than this. I'm better than this. And I decided to cross over, got my nursing degree while I was working for the military at night. So you're talking about someone taking the long route, the difficult route to become a nurse. That was me. I was not able to get out the military like most people do, to go to nursing school and then come back. So I worked for the military at night, and then I went to nursing school during the day and finally got my nursing degree and was able to cross over into the Air Force's Nurse Corps. And
Hey, Cherissa,
yeah,
quick question on that. Just to put this in perspective, because we have a lot of vets that are kind of on the fence often about going back to school, right?
yeah.
How long did it take you as an adult to get your degree so you could do a career pivot?
Oh my goodness. So to be honest with you, I started getting my prerequisites as soon as I came into the military as an enlisted person. So I went to basic training, then I went to tech school, got to my first base, learned my job, and I immediately started the undergraduate prerequisites, the math, the Englishes, the sciences, and things of that nature, building and getting all of those courses I knew I needed in order to become a nurse. And so that started in 1990. I did not get my bachelor's degree until 2000. So that's how long it took me, with transitioning from different bases, PCSing from different bases, getting settled, finding those classes at those particular bases that would work towards my degree. So I went from 1990 until 2000 before I was able to get everything and finally get my bachelor's degree.
Would you do it again?
Absolutely.
There you
Absolutely.
go. There's the answer.
I wouldn't encourage anyone to do it like I did it and do both, stay on active duty, working at night and doing the nursing program in the day, but that is what they gave me. So I was determined to get my nursing degree, and I was like, bring it. Whatever you need me to do, I'm gonna do it. And I was able to complete that program in 2 years, a bachelor's program in 2 years, and pass my NCLEX and became a nurse. So it's definitely possible. And so that's the reason why, again, in the community, I'm considered America's combat nurse because of all the deployments that I've done. And as a result of my deployments, I came back with post-traumatic stress disorder. And it was so ironic that when I was talking to my therapist, the therapist said, well, Cherissa, how could you not come back with post-traumatic stress syndrome? I mean, you were there on the battlefield and you were gone 3 times. And so it just made sense that I came back with post-traumatic stress. And so I had to deal with my challenges of post-traumatic stress. And I was in the community bringing awareness to post-traumatic stress and trying to eliminate that stigma that's out in the community. And as a result, I wrote a book called At Peace, Not in Pieces, kind of detailing my own journey of dealing with not only PTSD, but being a single mom of twin daughters, going through financial ruins as a single mom, and being divorced. So the book is not just about my PTSD journey, but it's also about just being a single parent, dealing with all of the challenges I had to deal with. And so it's kind of helps me to be able to motivate, encourage, and inspire other folks by putting my life out there for people to read. And it's truly a journey. And I wanted people to see that if I can do it, they can do it as well. So it's a bestseller. If someone wants to actually find it, they can find it on Amazon. As you see here, these are some of the awards that I've won, as well as some of the features that I've done. And I really like this KFC one. Most people ask me, what's going on with this KFC one? Well, the KFC one is while I was deployed to Afghanistan, of course, I have twin daughters. They were here in Maryland, finishing up their senior year in high school. And of course, they didn't want to leave to go to their father for their senior year. And so they remained back here, completed their senior year in high school with a 3.5 GPA. And as a result, KFC had heard about my story of being a single mom, being deployed 4 times. And so they actually did a coming home show, having me come back to surprise my twin daughters at one of their KFCs here in Maryland. And as a result of that, my daughters got $20,000 scholarship each from KFC for the work that they did while I was gone, as well as to support me in helping them financially go through college. So
I just threw the link in the chat. I trolled you real quick.
There's several videos out there, and it's crazy that every Veterans Day somehow that video gets shown, and people are like, oh my gosh, Cherissa, that's you on television again. I'm like, yeah, they tend to re-air that every Veterans Day. But yes, such an honor to know that KFC read my story and they picked my story out of thousands to say, we're going to do a special show on Cherissa and her daughters. I also have a nonprofit called Project Give Hope, where I actually do cervical cancer screening overseas. I went to Uganda twice and did cervical cancer screening. So not only do I serve veterans, but also serve the women in the community as well. And that's exactly what my nonprofit does. Again, I'm a PTSD advocate. I had a nonprofit called PTS Faces. And that was a way for me to show the community that there's many different faces to PTSD. I'll never forget going to a conference at West Point, and one of the cadets' father came up to me and said, Cherissa, you don't look like someone who has PTSD. And immediately I'm like, what the heck does that mean? There's no poster child for someone who has PTSD. And this really gave me the fire to continue to educate and bring awareness to what PTSD is and was back then. So that's the reason why I created that nonprofit. So as far as AMVETS itself, in 2019, AMVETS brought me on to be their chief medical executive and to run their HEAL program. And HEAL stands for Healthcare Evaluation, Advocacy, and Legislation. So anywhere in those 4 pillars, I can actually help a veteran. And most veterans come to the HEAL program when they are desperate. They have exhausted everything they know to do, where they can go to find resources to help them get appointments at the VA, to complain about a certain experience at the VA. We can advocate on their behalf all the way up to Dr. Stone's office, all the way up to the secretary's office. As well as, I go to Congress a lot, and I'm on different panels about veteran issues. And so for anyone that has issues with these areas, you can certainly reach out to us. You can call us, you can email us. That's what our program is for. And to know that the president back in 2019, President Trump came to our national convention and actually mentioned the great work that the HEAL program had done at that point. He didn't recognize any other program at the convention. That told us that we were on the right road. And as a result, we won a VETI award following the presidential recognition. So for anyone out there who's here today, if you have any issues, if you need resources, if you need help, you can certainly reach out to our HEAL program. And I'll have that link at the end of the presentation. So what does the HEAL program include? Here are the 4 things that my program includes. One is the Suicide Prevention Online Training Program. We also have ASSIST training. I'm one of the ASSIST trainers, and ASSIST stands for Applied Suicide Intervention Training. We do events for women veterans. For example, the ROSE event. ROSE stands for Respect Our Sheroes Experiences, and I'll get into detail about that here in a little bit. And lastly, we can talk about the upcoming cannabis conference that's coming in June.
So, hey, I have a question about that. That always turns into controversy, right?
Yeah.
And I know we try to keep that stuff off the page just for various reasons, right? Because it's kind of a taboo thing as seen by the VA. Mm-hmm. Do you see some changes upcoming in the cannabis kind of mindset within the federal government, and that is a treatment or whatever? What's your kind of pulse on that?
Yeah, and that's the reason that I created the first ever, and we'll get into the details of that, the first ever Veterans Conference around cannabis. That's going to be on June 27th of this year, which is PTSD Awareness Day. And my vision for this conference is to showcase to the VA right here in DC that this plant is efficacious, that veterans are using this plant, that veterans are getting off opioids using this plant. So I'm using this conference as a way to educate the VA, to have the VA hear from veterans who are using cannabis, and to also, help them understand what the plan is all about. And the conference has many different discussions. And and again, I have a slide on that can really get into the details of that. And the goal here is the more we penetrate the VA with conferences, with discussions, that's how the policies and procedures are going to change. And that's what we're all about. And AMVETS actually has a resolution that says we're in support of cannabis and having doctors talk to veterans about cannabis at the VAs. And we're in support of research when it comes to cannabis. So as a VSO, we are definitely leading the way in that discussion. And this conference is going to show that to the VA as well.
That's
So
great. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so as far as one of our HEAL program being the suicide online program, we all know what the veteran suicide stat is. We hear it all the time, 22 veterans die a day. And some of the reasons why veterans die is because of PTSD, homelessness, unemployment, and hopelessness. We know that. And we know with COVID, those numbers are probably going to be more than 22, unfortunately. We know a lot of veterans, take their lives because of opioid addiction and alcohol addiction. And so we kind of use this to say to Christopher Reeves Foundation, we want to create our own online suicide prevention training program. And we pitched the idea to the Christopher Reeves Foundation, and they loved our idea of having our own online training that anybody can take. And in this training, we were able to have real great feel-good scenarios that anybody, kids, caregivers, teachers, anybody can actually take the online training program. And so Christopher Reeves Foundation funded the first version, and we got another grant and they funded the second version. And I released the newest version back in February of this year. And so this training module, the updated training module, includes kids and bullying. It includes the LGBT plus community, because I wanted it to feel like it was just not a veteran issue. We all know that suicide is a community issue. So this was a way that anyone can go to the AMVETS page, take this training and get something from it in order to be more prepared to deal with suicide and talk to people in the community about suicide. We actually use our online training program to help first responders, as well as cops and fire department and nurses in the community as well. ASSIST training, it stands for, again, Applied Suicide Interventions Skills Training. That is more specific in how to talk to someone about suicide, how to get a veteran or anyone safe for now. It's not to be an expert in getting someone off the ledge. It's not to be an expert to be able to reel them in and prevent them from taking their lives, but it's to help them know that there's hope and there's a way to talk to someone who's at that edge, and you want to show them and help them understand that there's hope to be able to live, and there's hope in living. And so ASSIST training does that. It's a 2-day course, and we're able to offer that training to anyone. With my HEAL program, we have partners who actually help us do this training in the community. We've been able to do it at 2 police departments here in the Maryland area, and we have an outpour of other community groups wanting the training as well. And so if anyone's interested in that, you can certainly reach out to us and we can help you find an ASSIST trainer or ASSIST training in your community if you're interested. And again, like I said, we've already trained 2 police departments using the ASSIST training model. Another thing that we do within the HEAL program is around women veterans. And this is one of the events that I'm so proud of, because a lot of times women veterans are not given their props, and people don't talk about women veterans and how brave we are in the work that we do in the community. So this was my answer in 2019 to providing an event specifically for women veterans during Veterans Day weekend. And so what I did was I found sponsors who actually paid to help me have this event at Busboys and Poet, which is a restaurant here in Maryland. And the women came, it was free for women veterans. I fed them, we had entertainment, I gave them gifts. They were able to dialogue with each other, have panel discussions. It was all about women veterans. And as you can see here from the picture, I kind of made it with the rose theme. So when they came in, they just really felt like they were honored and that the event was about them. And that was the feedback that we got. It's like, no one thinks about us during Veterans Day weekend. And for us to create an event like this for them, it really made them feel really special. And so we'll continue to do these types of events. Couldn't do it in 2020, but we're certainly going to have it ready, and we're going to do it this year. Same time, during Veterans Day weekend. Now let's talk about what Chuck asked earlier, which was the cannabis conference. It's titled the Veteran Alternatives Healthcare Summit. It's going to be on June 27th. It's virtual. It's a Sunday, and it's also PTSD Awareness Day. And I chose that day because it is surrounding an issue where veterans are using cannabis because of their PTSD symptoms and challenges. And so,
you know what, Cherissa, every stoner dude that's watching this is going to wonder why you didn't choose April 20th, right?
Okay, yeah, that's a very good question. And I answered that. I didn't choose April 20th for that reason. I wanted a different day because I know the significance of 420, and there's so many events already out there on 420. And so I didn't want our event to be, downplayed because there's so many other events going on in 420. And so this is a virtual event. We have a large lineup of different speakers as well as panel members. We've solidified Montel Williams as our keynote speaker. And
Frank Mir, are you kidding?
Yes.
My goodness.
You have seen
I'm attending. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind seeing Montel, but yeah.
And he's such an awesome guy, man. He was like, oh, heck yeah, this is for veterans. So he's going to be at the virtual conference. He's going to actually record a message to veterans on that day. And I have some other great people that's going to do the same. Can't announce them yet, but I can announce that Montel has solidified being the Montel, and Frank Mir has solidified being a guest speaker as well. And at this conference, one of the key things that we're doing is we're offering free medical cannabis certification for vets. So when you go to pre-register for the event, it'll ask that question: are you interested in cannabis? Do you want to be a card holder? And we're actually have vendors who are going to provide this service for free for veterans on that day. We have an award ceremony on that day as well, because I thought it was important that we showcase different veterans, female veteran and a male veteran in the cannabis industry doing great work. And so we'll have an award for a female veteran and a male veteran. Last but not least, I think, again, it's important that we hear the stories of veterans who are using cannabis. So we will be showcasing a teaser of our documentary, I Am a Veteran and I Use Cannabis, at the conference as well. So if anyone wants to have their story recorded and be a part of this documentary, they can certainly reach out to me. We're looking for veterans who are brave enough and bold enough to tell their stories to be a part of this documentary. And here's the link to actually pre-register for the event. Is amvetshealprogram.org. So let's talk about some upcoming events that's at AMVETS. One of the biggest ones is Rolling to Remember. Most of you probably have heard Rolling Thunder. Well, AMVETS is now we are the ones in charge of Rolling Thunder. It is called Rolling to Remember, and it's Memorial Day weekend. There will be a live ride this year, so bikers will be coming into the DC area to do the annual ride. And so if anyone's interested in that, you can see a lot of information out there on the AMVETS page. We will have our national convention this year. That's in August. It's going to be in North Carolina. And we didn't have one last year, so this one is really, really going to be big. And then, of course, the Rose event will be during Veterans Day weekend. So in conclusion, what AMVETS is all about and what the HEAL program is all about is saving the lives of our veterans. We do take a priority when it comes to women veterans because we have the very first and only female veteran that is our national commander. It took AMVETS 75 years to get a female national commander. And of course, that's why we have the priority to be women veterans, because our national commander is a woman veteran. And another priority of ours is suicide prevention and finding ways and offering solutions to save our veterans and prevent them from suicide. So if you want to reach out to our HEAL program, here's our HEAL page, and that's healprogram.org. Here's my email address, cjackson@amvets.org. And if there's any questions, I'm here to take any questions, and there's no dumb question.
So we've had a couple inspired Danita here to kind of deal with some PTSD stuff. And she put up a question or a statement about one of her battle buddies. So we're getting her squared away in the back end with our Battle Buddies care program that we have going on.
Sweet.
So somebody's already made contact, but there hasn't been anything in here so far other than you've inspired her to do PTS Danita, whatever that's going to turn into, right? But I did encourage her to reach out, and I put your contact info up there as well. So
Awesome.
I really like the program that you guys have got here. I did post the thing for your medical clinic link or whatever you want to call that as well in the chat over there, the AMVETS healprogram.org.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can get some people signed up there for you. I know that a lot of people have had some issues dealing with the VA. So hopefully some of that stuff gets addressed. I've had some friends that have been on a dozen or more, cocktails of opioids and everything else under the sun. So hopefully a lot of that stuff can kind of get addressed and, handled a little more appropriately with more common sense.
Yeah.
Handled in the past.
I think
I'm not a medical person. I've never actually used the stuff in my entire life, but every single one of my friends has done it, and most of them got in trouble for it. So, it's time to have a good conversation about getting rid of some of that nonsense, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what the conference will do. It'll provide information on what the plant can do and the efficacy of the plant. And having veterans talk about their experience will also encourage other veterans to, think of it as an option. I mean, and that's the real reason why I created the conference, is to provide options to veterans. So many times veterans call the HEAL program and they tell us their issues of being on all of these medications. And as a nurse, I know the side effects of these medications. And so it's important to me that I am able to offer them solutions. And we've seen a lot of veterans come off of their opioids because of cannabis and other options that's out there. So it's important to me to provide those options. And if cannabis is one of those, why can't we talk about it? Why shouldn't we talk about it? And then let the veteran make their decision for themselves, which is why, we have the will to do what we want to do for ourselves. And so as the HEAL program continue to bring up this topic, I get questions every day, what is this going to mean for a veteran? What is this going to mean for firearms? What is this going to mean as far as my benefits? And so this conference is going to talk about all that. So when the veteran leaves this conference, they're well informed, and then they can make their own decision. And at the end of the day, we know veterans are using it anyway. So let's make sure they're using it safely and making sure that they're educated on why they are using it. And if they're not using it right and they need another product that can work, why not talk about it? And it's that time. I mean, we all see what's happening at different states. Different states are legalizing it recreationally, as well as some states are coming on medicinally, and it's expensive. And a lot of veterans may not be able to afford it, but there's so many nonprofits out here that are giving assistance to veterans who want to try it. And so to me, that's what it's all about. I hate the fact that we're sitting here right now and 22 veterans probably have died today. And
it's a sad reality.
Yeah, it's a very sad reality. And if cannabis can prevent that, then we should talk about it.
They always say if it saves one, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, and who knows if it's your buddy or not. I mean, my last one was March 22nd last year. I mean, I've been, sad to say, happy to make it over a year without getting one of those phone calls in the morning,
Yeah. it's really real, Chuck. I mean, I had a coworker, an AMVETS coworker that's up there in Michigan. She called me and she was like, Cherissa, I need to talk to you. I had a friend over the weekend commit suicide, a female veteran, and she used a firearm to do it. And she actually felt like she, wasn't, she wasn't around and she wasn't there to help her friend not go through suicide. And I had to kind of like talk to her about it's not her fault. And we all sometimes leave a suicide situation thinking, what could I have done? What more could I have done? What could I've offered the victim? And it's not about us in those times. The veteran don't want to just take their lives. The veteran don't want to die. What they want is the pain to go away. And oftentimes we don't get to know that because we're not inside them. And we always question, well, they could have come to me. I would have been there. I could have gone and sat with her. I could have gone and sat with him and got him services. But at the end of the day, if the pain is that deep and hopelessness has set in, there's absolutely nothing we can do. And that's why it's important that suicide prevention training and online training courses should be advocated for, because you really have a small window to be able to offer someone help. And if you're not prepared and you're not comfortable talking in those moments, then you could have been that last person that someone saw or talked to, and you could have helped save their lives. And so that's why it's such a high priority issue for AMVETS to talk about this, because we want to make sure we have everybody armed with, the skills to just at least talk to them and listen. We're not expecting people to be experts. We're not expecting people to be able to go in there and know and say everything. Just listen and give them hope. And at the end of the day, get them to a safe place and let the experts, help them out. Let the therapists, let the mental health providers help them out. But in that small window, give them hope. And that's what the training teaches folks.
Yeah, and so there's a woman on here. Her name is Danita. So it looks as though you haven't checked your message requests. I've got a couple of people reaching out to you right now to make that conversation get to help you get that started. So I don't know, Cherissa, if you're open to talking to her as well, but she's in the chat on the live right now.
Okay.
So check your message request, Anita. We've sent you a few messages so far. So we got some people that can get you to the right people. It's a typical story, right, of not getting the help she needs. So we've got some good connections in the group here we can help out with. Is there anything else you'd like to cover this evening before we wrap it up here?
No, I think, I wanted to focus on the HEAL program since it is a very new program. It's only been around for about 3 years, but it's been very impactful. It's a very program that includes myself and my assistant. It is self-funded, so everything I do for programs and events, I have to go out here and find funding for it. But we do provide a mighty roar, and we do go out above and beyond to help provide services and resources to veterans. Again, when they come to us, they've exhausted everything. So we know we're the last line of hope for them. So we go above and beyond to make sure we connect them, do follow up to make sure they're good, and provide other services within AMVETS that can help them along the way.
That's great. Okay, well, we'll wrap it up there. Oh, you know what? I was rude, Sarah. I didn't let you or Pete introduce yourself this evening, did I? Do you want to say goodbye at least? Say, hey, I'm Sarah. I'm getting out here now. We're a wrap.
Now, the star of the show is definitely Cherissa tonight. This was just fantastic information for everybody. So I really, really enjoyed just listening to all this information. So really amazing.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that.
Yeah, this isn't normal content for us at all, but it's needed content. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Peter's like, yeah.
The wordy guy's not speaking so much tonight, I guess.
I'm a writer.
Who writes for a living.
A writer, not a talker. No, it's good though. I enjoyed listening to the great facts, and I really did like taking a break from what we normally, the topics that we normally do. And so, yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll
well presented, by the way. Too.
What's that, Pete?
And well presented, by the way.
Yeah. Thanks for not using one slide for the whole presentation. That was wonderful. wonderful change. We don't always get that. Yeah, no, so I put Cherissa's contact info in there, guys. So if you want to reach out or if you want to donate money to AMVET, sounds like she needs some funding. So we get some important people that actually watch this program, believe it or not, and the nonsense that they have to put up with to get to the good content. And yeah, we'll just leave it there. I'll leave the plead for, as she pointed out earlier, there's 20 million other vets and we're at like 50,000 on the page. This is a great resource page for vets that are in transition. That's what we do here. You know, we connect you guys to great information, other outside sources like AMVETS and Military Hire will be on here hopefully like next week. So Jeff owes me a phone call. That's cool. Conversation later. So appreciate everybody staying patient watching. Put some feedback in the comments. We will address it throughout the week as usual. Reach out to any of us for any kind of help that you guys need. So that's all I have for this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much. Be safe.